All right, good evening, everyone. WLKY meteorologist Chris Johnson here. Cutting in, we have a newly issued tornado warning across portions of the viewing area, southwestern Indiana. And we're going to take a look at this storm along with some of the other severe thunderstorms that continue to blossom up across much of the viewing area. And that's going to keep the threat around for some severe weather as we head through tonight. First, we want to touch in on the tornado warning. It has been issued. This goes until 10 p.m. This is for Du Bois, Perry, and Crawford County. 3/4 inch of hail will be a possibility, and radar has indicated some rotation within that cell. Now I'm going to step off real quick, and then we're going to diagnose this storm, give you a track, and talk about some of the other severe weather that we're keeping an eye on as we head deeper into tonight and for the overnight period. So as you look at radar to our north and to our west, this is the area that we're keeping an eye on. And to our west and southwest, some of those strongest severe storms have been ongoing across the area. And here's our tornado warning that we're going to keep a close eye on across southwestern parts of Indiana. So as we zoom in just a little bit, we're going to take a look at this storm, put a track on it, talk about some of the most dangerous part of this cell as it tracks towards the north and east. Let's zoom in closely here and take a deeper look at this cell, and you can see the tornado warning that's ongoing for Crawford, Du Bois, and portions of Perry County. And there's a lot of heavy rainfall, but a lot of wind as well, along with some of that rotation. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to zoom close to the storm, and we're going to throw in some velocity and take a look at some of the wind just a little bit above the surface here. So we're going to put on our base velocity, show you exactly what we're looking at. This storm has had a history of putting down some damaging wind gusts. Henderson, Kentucky, there was a report from the Kentucky Mezzanine, so we got some ground truth here, of a 90-mile-per-hour wind gust, peak wind gust at 90 miles per hour. And we've been keeping a close eye on this cell as it tracks north and eastward. And while we've been doing that, some wind velocity measurements indicated on radar upwards to 70, 75, even 80 miles per hour, the wind velocity within this cell. And also, there is a little bit of rotation there, but notice the greens here, a lot of wind. This is a big-time wind maker along with some of the rotation that we're seeing across the area, and that's why they put a tornado warning and issued this for the counties moving north and eastward over the next 19 minutes or so. So you can see the light greens indicating that high wind that's moving, of course, toward the radar there. And we're going to put a tracker on this storm, and you can see the flash and polygon. These are the areas for that tornado warning we are most concerned with. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our tracker, and we're going to put a track on this and talk about some of the areas the strongest part of this cell is tracking to. So for areas along Holland, Dale, and the Santa Claus, Indiana, it's these areas that we need to be concerned with as this storm begins to move towards the north and east. In fact, I'm going to change something here and go back to one of my other trackers, and we're going to draw a line down from right here, and then we're going to spread this towards the north and east. And this storm's moving off at a pretty good clip. These storms are moving pretty fast, and you can see some of the areas. If you're in these areas, go ahead and head to your safe place. A lot of wind, a little bit of rotation being noted with this storm. So folks there in Huntingburg, 946, Ferdinand, 947, all the way down into, say, portions of Doolittle Mills going till 1007. These areas, if you live in and around these areas, good idea to get into that safe place with this cell that's working north and eastward across your area. Let's look at something else as well. A lot of lightning been associated with these cells that have been firing up to our south and west. We toggle that on, and we're getting a lot of lightning, a lot of high winds, a little bit of rotation with this cell, and it's really putting down some heavy rainfall as well. And this storm, like I said, has had a history of not only the wind and some of the rotation. This was a storm that moved through portions of western Kentucky, including Evansville. Folks across those areas have been on, as far as TV stations, covering this cell with some of the rotation and those high wind gusts, but also a lot of lightning working into some of our coverage counties in southwestern Indiana. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to clear all this out. A lot of lightning, a lot of wind, a little bit of rotation there. And let's take you back. Let's put our reflectivity back on here, and we'll show you this storm. Look at the reds there. Some of the pinks indicating the heavy rainfall, a lot of high winds, and a lot of lightning as this storm pushes north and eastward at a pretty good clip. All right, let's zoom out. Let's take a look at some of the other storms we've been keeping an eye on. Back to our north and west across southern parts of Indiana. Earlier today, some of these areas, especially our far northern counties there in southern Indiana, had some severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, you're just dealing with some rainfall, and it looks to be moderate and heavy at times, but no severe storms across these areas. What we're watching is back to our west and southwest, extending from Jasper, of course, for folks there in Perry County, all the way back through Evansville and then western parts of Kentucky. These storms taking a similar track southwest towards the north and east, right along the Ohio River, and this is going to be the prime area we're going to keep a close eye on for these storms. See if we can put a lapse on this to get some storm movement. These storms are racing off towards the north and east at a pretty good clip, and will continue to do so as we head into the next few hours. And I tell you what, it's going to be a pretty busy night over the next 2 to 3 hours as these storms, they got a little bit of energy to work with, and some winds and also some large hail will also be a possibility along with some other rotation. Let's clear this out. We're going to go over to our regional radar. Let's take a look at the big picture here. And you know, this is a system we've been watching over the last couple of days and the severe threat. And a lot of areas across the region have been picking up on some severe thunderstorms, some tornado warnings, especially to our west and southwest. And these storms really starting to fire up now. And this is the reason why. Cold front back to our west. It's pushing towards the east, giving us some good forcing within the atmosphere. We had a lot of moisture surging in. The warmth today, temperatures in the lower to mid 80s in a lot of locations. Warmth, moisture, that cold front pushing in, really providing a good spark for those showers and the strongest severe thunderstorms that have been lighting up across the area. All right, let's go back over to our future radar. I've been talking about it, did so earlier this evening with the 6 o'clock news, and I want to show you the future radar with some of these storms as they track through. A broken line of some scattered strong to severe thunderstorms will be a possibility. They're going to race through as we head closer to midnight, overnight, as we get into, say, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of the activity begins to push east of I-65 before clearing out. And then we get into your Sunday and things look pretty good for your Sunday afternoon. It's dry, it's breezy, and of course it's going to be on the cooler side, but cooler, we're talking temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. All right, let's go back to the storms here. We're going to take off the laps there and the lightning. We're going to clear these off. I'm going to get back to radar, and we're going to show you the reflectivity. There we are. And you can see the storms we're keeping an eye on across southwestern parts of Indiana and western Kentucky. This activity working north and eastward. Also been watching some other cells that have been popping up across southern parts of Kentucky. And what I want to do here is we're going to clear this out, and then I'm going to try and zoom in, take you down to our south here along the parkways. Folks there, Grayson County, just north and west of Litchfield, we're seeing some of these cells really beginning to fire up. And some of these storms on the strong side, and some of them have been producing some large damaging hail, especially the cell that's just north and west of Bowling Green, north and west of Warren County there. So these cells popping up to our south and west, also working north and eastward, and we'll do so through tonight, keeping that threat alive for those scattered strong to severe thunderstorms. Now, these individual cells that continue to pop up will eventually congeal with this line all coming together before pushing off towards the east. And as that happens later on tonight, that threat, it begins to diminish. So good news there. But for now, we have to be weather aware and be on our heels as far as these strong to severe thunderstorms are concerned. All right, let's take you back to the cell that we originally cut in for. Looks like they dropped one of the tornado warnings across western parts of Kentucky, but we still have that active warning going on across southwestern parts of Indiana. So let's zoom in here a little bit closer, and we're going to take a look. Clear this out first. Take a look at this cell, and we'll get a closer zoom on that. I'm going to step off screen, and we'll get that adjusted here. Right now, I'm going to get it over to Mo Rose. Mo, are you seeing anything as far as reports are concerned?
No reports. No reports coming in. The latest that came in from the Weather Center was that there's a severe storm that was located near Folsomville, moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. Not seeing any rotation with this just yet, but I am kind of monitoring the storm velocity. And right now, winds, 60-mile-per-hour winds, although there was that one storm. I mean, this storm was capable of producing 90-mile-per-hour winds. We had that already came out, but other than that, we haven't gotten anything as far as damage reports.
You're exactly right. As far as the winds are concerned, Henderson, Kentucky, it was ground truth. It was reported 90-mile-per-hour winds. And when you put on the velocity here, folks there, just south of Jasper, getting into Huntingtonburg, Ferdinand, just west of that, you're seeing these bright greens beginning to show up. And That's just a good indicator of some high winds there. And you can see radar estimating 59 miles per hour, 56 miles per hour. Some spots earlier we were reporting 70, 75 miles per hour. And like I said, this storm has had a history of producing not only the high damaging winds, but also that rotation as well. And of course, that's why they issued this tornado warning and stretched it towards the north and east, getting through portions of Crawford County, Perry County, Du Bois County. And that's why they issued that warning. So of course, we're going to keep a close eye on that. That tornado warning goes until 10 o'clock. That is until 10 o'clock. We got about 11 minutes to go, and we'll see if they extend this warning or potentially drop it down to a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me clear things off here. I'm going to jump back on screen. Was having a few difficulties there with my hand tracker, but now we seem to be good to go. So velocity showing those bright greens right there. Yeah, that's the high winds, the wind gust up to 55, 60, 65 miles per hour in some locations. And as I was talking about, of course, it's had some ground truth of putting down high winds as high as 90 miles per hour. So a little bit of rotation also in there. It's very ominous, but it is there. I think the bigger threat with this is some of the high winds this storm is putting down and rushing down to the ground. All right, let's go ahead and clear this out. We're going to get it back to our reflectivity and show you some of the rain that we're watching. And it's heavy in spots. Like I said just a little bit ago, a lot of moisture, a lot of warmth out there surging ahead of this cold front. And that's really primed the atmosphere for some heavy rainfall. And that's what we've been seeing, especially to our north and to our west. Folks there in southern and western parts of Indiana could be talking about a localized flash flood threat if this heavy rain continues to track over some of those hard-hit areas, and that's something we'll keep a close eye on as well. So here's the tornado warning. This goes until 10 o'clock. This is for Du Bois County, Crawford County, and portions of Perry County, and that goes until 10 o'clock. This storm has had a history, not only the rotation, but the high wind gust as well. And let's put a tracker on this. We're still talking about some of the heavy rain and the high winds, but for folks there from, say, just south of Jasper, Huntingtonburg, Ferdinand, folks to the north and east, good idea to get into that safe place just because of the wind and some of the rotation we're seeing with the storm. Folks there in English to our north in Orange County, Paoli, folks across that area, we're picking up on some heavy rainfall, but nothing severe as far as those storms are concerned. In fact, let's toggle on some of our lightning. A lot of lightning-induced thunderstorms working across the area, so you're getting in on some loud rumbles of thunder, a lot of lightning, heavy rainfall, gusty winds. But our concentration right now is still this cell back to our west and southwest. And looks like they have some more cells firing up just south and west of Hardinsburg. And these cells have been putting down not only some heavy rainfall, lightning, some wind, but the ones firing up to our far south and southwest, like folks there in Butler County and Morgantown, just south and west of Grayson County, west of Hardinsburg. These have put down some hail as well. So severe thunderstorm warnings for some of those beginning to go up. Notice Owensboro picking up on another severe thunderstorm warning as well. All right, let's zoom back out. Let's get into our homepage here and take you back out. Again, heavy rainfall continues to march across some of the areas in southern Indiana. None of these storms are severe at all, but some lightning, some moderate to heavy rainfall will be ongoing. This is the area we're keeping an eye on, stretching from Jasper down to Tell City and then downstream Owensboro, getting into Evansville, far western Kentucky, where these storms have had history of producing those damaging winds and, of course, some rotation as well. Let's zoom back out. We're going to show you here, and then let's go back over to our regional radar. I want to take a look at the big picture once again for some of the folks that might just be joining in with us. Strong cold front. It's situated back to our west and northwest. It's been working closer to the Ohio Valley over the last 12 to 24 hours. And like I said earlier, a lot of warmth, a lot of moisture to work with. And that cold front's beginning to make its way through just to our west. And as it does so, it's interacting with that warm, that unstable environment, hence the strong to severe thunderstorms we continue to see work across the area. Now, as far as those storms are concerned, as we head through tonight and into your Sunday morning, that risk is going to be sticking around for us, and we can see that on Futurecast heading through tonight into the early morning hours. The scattered broken line of strong to severe storms will race off towards the north and east, but that threat will stick around at least until 1, 2, perhaps 3 in the morning, and that's when that tornado watch continues to work in across the area as well. So the tornado watch will remain in effect as we head into the early morning hours for your Sunday. Getting back to reflectivity, I'm going to take you back home, and we're going to zoom things off here. There we go. Reflectivity showing the showers and storms, those severe storms just to our west and southwest. So here's the radar. These storms pushing north and eastward. We had that tornado warning issued, still going until 10 o'clock. We got about 6 minutes left on that warning, and we'll see what they do as far as pushing that upstream. But those high winds, a little bit of rotation showing up in spots, and heavy rain continues to fall to the south and west of that as well. Any reports, Mo? I see you waving your hand. What do you got?
All right, well, that Du Bois County storm, it's showing signs it might spin up again. I think maybe we should take a look at that because if that continues on its path, that will make its way into parts of Orange County. Right now, let's see, a severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for Crawford, Harrison County as well. No damage reports are coming in yet.
Yeah, thanks, Mo. Yeah, I'm seeing, getting some updates rolling in. So far, no damage reports are coming in from dispatchers, local dispatchers, or spotters, but these storms still packing a punch, and we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued, and this is for areas just to our south of the tornado warning. So this includes portions of Hancock County, Meade County, Crawford, Harrison, and Perry County. This goes until 10:30. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. So this is the cell just below the cell that has that tornado warning on it, that's pushing northeastward. This storm is moving off at a pretty good clip. It does have the threat to bring some damaging wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. When we toggle on that base velocity, you can see, yeah, right there. So there's the polygon. Folks there in Leopold, heads up, you have some high winds heading your way as this storm moves off towards the north and east. So we have the tornado warning, that cell to our north and west. Little bit of rotation. But the bigger concern there seems to be some of the high wind gusts that are coming out with that cell, and also that new severe thunderstorm warning as well, showing the signs of some high winds. You can see that with the bright greens there, and it's certainly showing the threat for the damaging wind gust up to about 60 miles per hour. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a track on that for the folks in and around that area and see exactly what we're looking at as far as where the storm is heading, and a track, because what we'll do is we'll put the track on the most dangerous part of this storm, which will be right here, seeing a lot of the high winds as it tracks off towards the north and east. So what we'll do is we'll toggle things off here, and we're going to put a warning, a tracker on that, and we'll take it from the most dangerous part of the storm, the high wind gust here up to 60, 65 miles per hour, and we'll put a tracker on that, heading off at a pretty good clip, about 55, 60 miles per hour. And you can see some of the communities this storm will be heading to in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Folks there in Leopold, 10:02 expected for that arrival time. Mount Pleasant at 10:06, all the way down to folks there in Magnolia at about 10:16 p.m. This storm is capable of producing not only the heavy rainfall, but the damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Let's clear that one out, and let's take a look back up here at that storm we've been watching. The original tornado warning that we broke in for, still ongoing until 10 o'clock. And as far as I know of, they're going to keep that going until 10. Mo, are you hearing something?
Yeah, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Now that has been issued, and you can see that on the screen there, a new yellow box there, that polygon. Now that has 70 mile per hour winds, 3/4 inch hail, and that is for Crawford, Du Bois, Orange, Perry, and Washington County, and that will extend until 10:30 tonight. Also, a 51 mile per hour wind gust was tagged in Huntingburg with this last storm.
Okay, yeah, and we've been highlighting that over the last few minutes or so. Do you know if they're going? Okay, there we go. I was getting ready to ask Mo if you've seen anything in the chat. Looks like we got an update for that tornado warning, that cell that's tracking northeastward. It looks like now folks there in Orange County, that is going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 10:30. And the main concern is going to be that wind, but they did tag it with a tornado possible with this cell. So we're going to keep our eye out on some rotation with this cell, but when you look at the velocity radar right now, you're seeing a lot of bright greens indicating that high wind field, and that's our damaging wind threat with these cells. And of course, that's showing up once again with that severe thunderstorm that was issued, that warning that was just issued not too long ago, working straight towards Leopold, heading towards the north and east. So damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour possibility with this cell, and then the cell that still has the tornado warning on it. And then they're going to lead that to a severe thunderstorm warning with a TOR tag on it, meaning some rotation will be a possibility. But damaging wind gusts, the bigger threat there, up to 70 miles per hour. So something to keep in mind if you're in and around this area. For folks in Orange County, around English, just north and west of English, heading into Orange County, folks in these areas, maybe a good idea to get into your safe place with these cells working towards the north and east. Let's put a tracker on that. The most dangerous part of this storm, heading northeastward at a pretty good clip, about 55, 60 miles per hour. And you can see some of the communities, if you live in and around these communities, good idea to get into that safe place. As you see folks there in Paoli at about 10:18 p.m. updated all the way down to Orleans there at 10:24. So over the next 15 to 30 minutes, this cell packing a punch as far as the wind is concerned, working northeast. If you live in some of these communities, like I said, good idea to head to your safe place, maybe the basement, something like that with these winds, because this has been a cell that has put down some high wind gusts, as high as 90 miles per hour. Now, we're not talking about that right now, but up to 70, 75 mile per hour winds will be a possibility, and there's no doubt that could certainly lead to some damage. So looks like they've dropped that tornado warning completely now, so good news there, but that severe thunderstorm warning will continue until 10:30, and it has that possible tornado tag on it. I mean, a little bit of rotation will be possible, but the biggest threat now will be the high wind gust up to 70 miles per hour. Let's switch it back over to our reflectivity. I want to zoom things back out and take a look at the big picture here and see exactly what we're looking at. As far as our rain chances are concerned, those really ramping up, especially our northern communities. Notice some of the strongest severe thunderstorms ongoing to our west and southwest, but the good news is that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. Mo, are you seeing any reports, anything else coming in as far as that storm is concerned just to our northwest?
No damage reports. We're just watching the hail. You got to be careful with that hail. 3/4 inch hail, those wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour.
Okay.
It's pretty strong.
Good deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to get you back to local programming now that that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. But note some of the severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing across the area. Damaging wind gusts up to 60 to 70 miles per hour will be possible, along with some large hail. And the possibility is there for some localized flooding issues as these storms are dropping a lot of rainfall. Of course, I'll be keeping a close eye on everything here in the WLKY studios, along with meteorologist Mo Rose. And of course, we'll cut back in when needed if we see another tornado warning that will be issued. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good evening. All right, good evening, folks. WLKY meteorologist Chris Johnson back in. We're back on once again. We have a tornado warning that has just been issued. This is radar indicated, and this is for folks in Meade County, Crawford, Harrison, and Perry County there in Indiana, and this goes until 10:30 p.m. Now, this is a severe thunderstorm that will be capable of producing a tornado, and it was located about 15 miles northeast of Tell City, moving at a pretty fast clip at about 60 miles per hour. So, of course, we're going to track this out for you and keep you updated as we head into the next 15 to, say, about 30 minutes or so. So we had the cells back to our north and west that we were originally cutting in for, and that was producing those high wind gusts, still an ongoing issue there. But what we're focusing in on now is the new tornado warning just to the south of that. So what we'll do is we're going to zoom things in and get a closer look at this, and we'll diagnose this cell and also put a tracker on it for folks in and around this area. A good idea to potentially go ahead and get into that safe place now. All right, we zoom in and we can see that tornado warning for those areas going until 10:30 p.m. We're going to put some wind velocity. Let's take a look at the spin in the atmosphere there. We'll go to our base velocity and we'll see what we can pick up there as far as our radar is concerned. Let me clear this out for you once again. Having a few issues with our tracker. There we go. Let me step out. You see a tornado warning that's ongoing across those areas, and I said again till 10:30 p.m. and that's what we're going to track out for you. And you can see the flash and polygon for folks there in Leopold heading north and eastward towards the I-64 corridor. Now, we put a tracker on this, and we'll throw some velocity on there as well, and you can see some of the winds, and that's something we're going to keep a close eye on. Also, notice right here, we put that tracker on and take you, say through about the next 30 minutes or so, and we'll put this on the most dangerous part of the storm, pushing north and eastward, traveling at about 60 miles per hour. So folks in these areas, good idea to go ahead and get into your safe place. Leopold, 10:09, Mount Pleasant 10:13, all the way down to Beechwood, Sulphur 10:18, 10:19, folks there in Leavenworth 10:23 p.m. That's expected as far as the storm arrival time across those areas. So we'll clear that back out for you so we can get and show you exactly what we're seeing as far as the big picture is concerned. So now what we're going to do is we'll zoom back out. We're going to throw on a reflectivity for you and talk a little bit more about these storms. Also note some of the activity that continues to blow up to our far south as well. Folks there in Grayson County, severe thunderstorm warning out for you guys as well. This is pretty close to the city of Litchfield there. So let's take a closer look at that. As I'm going to toggle down for you, we'll zoom in a little bit closer and take a closer look at this cell. And you can see pretty healthy cell, a lot of heavy rainfall, also a lot of lightning showing up with these storms as well. And you can see just that. We toggle that on. Look at all the lightning in and around some of these areas, especially for folks there in Morgantown, Butler County. This storm is pushing off towards the north and east with damaging wind gusts up to about 60, 65 miles per hour, along with that lightning and heavy rain. You can see some more individual cells popping up to our west and southwest. Also something we have to keep a close eye on because additional showers and storms are not only developing, but they could become strong, even severe as we head into the next couple hours. Let's clear this out. I'm going to take you back to our home here and show you the big picture. Again, heavy rain showing up to our north. No severe thunderstorms across some of those areas, but folks there in Paoli, now seeing that severe thunderstorm beginning to work across the area. Again, high wind gusts. That's a big time issue with some of these severe thunderstorm warnings that are working through our viewing area. Let's take a closer look at that. You can see just east of Jasper, the bright greens really showing up and some of the reds as well. So we're getting those high wind gusts. And like I said, this storm has been capable of producing some very high winds up to 70, 80, 90 miles per hour, especially earlier. Not that it's producing that now, but up to 65, 70 miles per hour will be a good possibility with this cell as it continues to push off towards the north and east. A closer look there, you can see folks there in Ethel, Brownstown, Greenbrier, Pine Valley. Some of the high winds now beginning to march north and eastward across your area. We zoom things back out and we go down the line as far as velocity is concerned. We still have that tornado warning that's ongoing until 10:30. And now we're going to take a closer look at that one as well. Get you a nice close shot here and track it out for you as far as the cell is concerned, the most dangerous part of this storm. Folks, good idea to get into the safe place as we see these strong storms pushing north and northeast. So folks there in Ranger, over to Leopold, and just north and say getting into Salina, this is the strongest part of the storm with the track north and eastward. And again, seeing lots of lightning with these storms, not only the lightning, but that wind field with the high wind gusts that continue with many of these storms. Also, back to our north and west, we're seeing more of that rain, and we're going to see more issues showing up as far as the severe thunderstorms are concerned, because again, lots of cells are showing up to our south and west, and that's something we have to keep a close eye on as we head into the next couple of hours. And you can see a lot of the activity back here to our west and southwest. Folks there in Owensboro up to Tell City, getting into southwestern parts of Indiana, they're picking up on that heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning, and a lot of heavy rain. And you know, the wind is an issue as well, and that's the problem we're having in some of those areas. But for us, across southern Indiana, getting into western parts of our viewing area, you can see the lightning. It's a big issue. Also, we're seeing the high wind gust and some of the rotation within some of these storms. So that's what we're keeping a close eye on as we head into the next little bit here. Base velocity showing just that. Folks there in Paoli, we're picking up on some of the high winds, and that's been an issue that's been ongoing. But notice some of the brighter greens there, not like it was earlier. So we're starting to see the winds perhaps not as strong as what we were seeing about 30 to 45 minutes ago. Severe thunderstorm warning continues across that area for getting into Orange County, stretching towards Salem. That goes until 10:30. And then also notice back to our south and west, that tornado warning continues across that area as well. And you can see the velocity image, the radar showing just that. So let's zoom out of here and we'll take you back to our home page. So severe thunderstorm warning and also that tornado warning that's ongoing to our south and west across southern parts of Indiana. That's what we're keeping a close eye on. You can see the wind field there, not as robust as what it once was, but still the warning will continue for the next little bit. 10:11 right now, and this is going until 10:30 p.m. So that's what we'll keep an eye on. And also, we're going to keep an eye on those cells to our south. As I've been talking about for the last few minutes, we're seeing lots of activity popping up across southern Kentucky. New cells developing, bringing that wind threat, also a little bit of a hail threat as well. So you can see here on reflectivity, we pop that back on and notice to our southwest. Folks there in Grayson County, Litchfield, heads up, severe thunderstorm warning is going to be working across your area. Notice some of these cells that are popping up to our west and southwest, right along the parkways. Folks there along Hopkinsville, just south of those areas. Additional storms will continue to develop while tracking north and eastward as we head throughout the rest of tonight and into the overnight period. Also, additional severe thunderstorms will be a problem across these areas. If we get some of these storms that keep developing, working over the same areas, that could lead to that localized flood threat. So something we'll also keep a close eye on. We take a look at the big picture here. Let's get it back over to our regional radar. Cold front marching in from our west, and that's been a real driver for the setup. Like I talked about earlier, you have the moisture, the warmth, that cold front swinging through, getting closer to the area, really providing for a good blow up as far as storms are concerned. Some of those, of course, on the strong, even severe side with some of the tornado warnings we've been keeping a close eye on. As far as the overnight is concerned, future radar will keep those rain and those storm chances around for the overnight period. Those storms are expected to race off towards the north and east overnight tonight, eventually coming to an end by early Sunday morning. And then we get into your Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Things look pretty good as those conditions will dry out. Are we getting any new reports as far as any of the wind damage is concerned, any of these severe thunderstorm warnings that we're seeing across the area? Microphone.
No new damage reports, but they did continue the severe thunderstorm warning in Crawford, Orange, and Washington counties. 70-mile-per-hour winds and a 3/4-inch hail. And these are moving fast, 65 miles per hour.
All right, thanks, Mo. Appreciate that. All right, trying to get the reflectivity back up here. Sorry, folks, again, having a few issues with our system here. But we're going to get the reflectivity back up. And also, it looks like Chief Meteorologist Jay Cardozi just walked in not too long ago. He's also going to help us with our coverage as well. And we're going to keep a close eye on things.
Yeah, Chris, big band of storms moving on through. Obviously, some isolated storms that are capable of producing these high winds, the hail, and also the isolated tornado spin-ups. One big storm down around Litchfield, another one north of there through Hardinsburg and points off to the north. And that tornado warning that remains in effect for sections of Crawford as well as Harrison counties for the next several minutes. Watching for that storm. No confirmed tornado touchdown reports at this point in time, but we continue to monitor that. That's a big storm. The wind fields in the atmosphere tonight conducive to lots of spin, and as a result, there could be some isolated tornado spin-ups as this system rolls on through. Not only isolated tornado spin-ups, but also a lot of heavy rainfall and even some hail could be a possibility along with the strong gusty winds.
Yeah, and that's what we'll continue to keep an eye on as Jay was talking about. And there's a close-up of that cell as it tracks north and eastward, working across these areas, especially folks there in Leavenworth, right along the I-64 corridor. As Jay was talking about, the environment's just conducive. It's set up for quick spin-up tornado, and also, like he was talking about, some damaging wind gusts, which is what we're seeing with a lot of these cells. And in fact, these cells right here working across southwest Indiana have been capable of producing wind gusts as high as 60, 70, in some spots across western Kentucky earlier, 80+ miles per hour. So this is why we have to break in, we have to cover these, because this could certainly cause some damage for some folks across these areas as this continues to push off towards the north and east. Let's take our way down to the line here. We have some additional severe thunderstorm warnings we're keeping a close eye on. And like I said, a lot of activity that's popping up to our south and west. And as far as the severe threat is concerned right now to our north, it's mainly just rain across our northern counties, although the severe thunderstorm warning for folks in Orange County is stretching north and eastward, so they could extend that, of course, getting into parts of Washington County, but this could continue for folks just south of Bedford and south of Seymour, so we could see an extension as far as that severe thunderstorm is concerned. But right now, the big-time focus right along the Ohio River from Owensboro getting into Tell City, and of course our southwestern communities there as that heavy rain continues to fall. A little bit of rotation showing up with the storm, but also the winds has been a big wind maker with these cells in. And again, back to our southwest, additional cells are popping up, and that's creating some issues. So I want to take a closer look. Here, the one working into Litchfield right now. I was talking about this one a little earlier, and as we zoom in a little bit closer, you can see the bright reds, a little bit of pink in there, indicating not only the heavy rainfall, but there's some high winds associated with this cell as well. And this thunderstorm continues to work through Grayson County, heading right towards folks there in Litchfield. You can see some of the high winds working with that cell, but also wanted to look at the hail, see if we're picking up on any hail with this cell. So not seeing any hail with that cell, which is some good news there. But again, it looks like with that will be the damaging winds and the heavy rainfall as this cell continues to work through Grayson County, right along 62, heading into portions of Litchfield. So we zoom in a little bit closer. You can see folks there ready, Beth, getting into Caneyville. Heavy rain, some high winds expected with this cell. Are we getting any other new reports coming in as far as this one tornado warning is concerned, guys?
Yeah, Chris, as far as the tornado warning is concerned, I don't have any new reports going on. As a matter of fact, looking at the wind velocity field, I don't see any tight rotations right now in the warning area as it heads towards the Corridon area, the Leavenworth area. We do see some strong gusty winds, that's for sure, no question about that. There could be some isolated hailstones as well, some damaging winds in isolated locations, but as far as a distinct velocity couplet, I don't see that right now as it moves towards Leavenworth as well as northern portions of Harrison County at this point in time. So good news there.
Yeah, and this warning continues until 10:30, but yeah, I agree, Jay, not seeing that as far as that couplet, that rotation that we typically look for when we look at wind velocity. You look for those greens and those reds to show up close together. That usually indicates that rotation we're seeing within that storm, and just not seeing it. So more than likely, some high winds, some damaging winds will be a possibility with this cell. And if we get an extension on that, there could be a good possibility that they drop that down to just a severe thunderstorm warning and take away that tornado warning. So good news for those areas. But folks there in Leavenworth, right along 64, Carefree, Kirby, stretching towards the northeast, say getting into Frenchtown and points north of that. Heavy rain. Some gusty winds certainly heading your way, but the good news is, as far as velocity is concerned, we're not seeing that couplet, that tight rotation, anything that would indicate potential for a rotating thunderstorm or that would make us think we would be tracking a tornado. So folks in this area, still a good idea to be in your safe place, but also the threat will be high for those winds, not as much as that rotation, just not seeing it there. Let's go back up to the north. And we're still seeing some of those high winds again. Folks there in Paoli, heading towards 37. For folks there in Orangeville, and you can see French Lick, Greenbrier, Pine Valley. Those greens, those brighter greens indicating some of the higher winds, likely picking up on some wind gusts ranging between 40 up to about 55, 60 miles per hour. In southwestern Indiana, a lot of heavy rain falling, a lot of wind, a lot of lightning as well. These storms have been packing a punch as far as that lightning is concerned. And again, additional cells have been popping up to our south and west. But as far as overall radar is concerned, not a lot besides that tornado warning that we still have ongoing across southern Indiana. Not seeing too much in the way that's grabbing my attention as far as potential rotating storms elsewhere. Guys, are you seeing anything else like that besides just the severe thunderstorm?
You know, Chris, at this time, no, I do not see that. The only thing we're seeing are some strong, gusty, straight-line winds running from Paoli down to west of Salem, down to west of the Corridon area, getting close to Brandenburg. Now, there could be a little bit of hail involved in the storm north of Hardinsburg at this point in time. That one seems to be pretty intense and moving off to the northeast. But as far as the tornadic circulation is concerned, we don't really see much as far as that is concerned. So that's some good news as far as that goes, as these storms move off to the east-northeast at a rapid movement of anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour. You can see the hail tracker south of Tell City, just off to the west of Hardinsburg. Yes, there has been some hail reported, but as these storms have been moving off to the east, it looks like the overall intensity of the updrafts has been weakening somewhat, so the hail has been also weakening as everything moves off to the east towards the I-65 corridor. And let's hope that trend certainly continues. Bottom line, we still have in yellow severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. Bottom line, we have potential for some damaging straight line winds, maybe a little bit of hail. And in red, that's a tornado warning that continues for sections of Crawford County and west and northwestern Harrison County for the next several minutes. If you're anywhere from near Corydon, but especially off to the west and northwest from there, that tornado warning goes until 10:30 tonight. This storm is moving off to the east-northeast. It's an intense storm, but the good news, it looks like the rotation throughout the depth of the storm anyway has weakened somewhat. And at this point in time, that's some good news, Chris, as this thing continues to move off to the east-northeast.
Yeah, and you said that tornado warning, it continues until 10:30. So 10:22 now, got about 8 minutes to go as far as that tornado warning is concerned. But like Jay was talking about, you know, the updrafts, the instability really begins to wane as we climb deeper into tonight. But we were talking about it earlier. Right along I-65 points to the west just seem to have the overall better parameters for some strong to severe thunderstorms. And our thinking is here as these storms continue to track closer to I-65, eventually overnight and eastward, that's when we should see that wane in instability, that energy, that storm juice, and some of these storms should really begin to weaken some as we head into the next few hours. But like Jay was talking about, that tornado warning, it continues until 10:30 p.m. up to our north and west along English, stretching up to Paoli there in Orange County, getting into southwestern parts of Washington County. That severe thunderstorm warning continues across that area until 10:30 as well. Damaging wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour will be a possibility as well. We were looking at the hail parameter as well. These storms were producing some hail, especially back to our southwest, but now maybe beginning to weaken just a little bit, and we're not seeing the hail threat like we were. So some good news there. Let's take it back out. I want to pull up the big picture here. In fact, let's take her back home, and then you can see all the storms that will continue to track out as we head into the next couple hours or so. And you can see it's the storms from Paoli stretching southward down to, say, folks there in Brandenburg just west, and then to the southwest getting into Owensboro. These are the storms. They've been keeping it together, too, for a little while now over the last few hours, especially from western Kentucky, now spreading north and eastward into southern parts of Indiana. And it's getting a little bit closer to the metro area as well. And again, these storms will push eastward and northeastward over the next hour. So eventually seeing some of the storms heading right here into downtown Louisville. And of course, we'll have to keep watching these storms closely as we could still see a little bit of rotation out there. The parameters are there for a little bit of rotation within these storms, but also the damaging wind gusts. That's our big time concern as well. Notice some cells popping up just south of Brandenburg for folks there just west of E-Town, seeing another cell. Additional cells showing up to our west and southwest of that. Folks there in Litchfield, Grayson County really picking up on a pretty decent storm there. Some heavy rainfall. Not sure if we're seeing a whole lot of hail there, but we're going to zoom in a little bit closer and take a look at this storm. Folks there in Litchfield picking up not only on the heavy rainfall, but let's take a look at the velocity as well. Likely seeing some high wind gusts with this. Stretching upwards to about 40 to 60 miles per hour, reaching that severe criteria. You can see the winds there. Also, let's check the hail and make sure we're not seeing anything as far as a hail swath or hail threat is concerned. Now you can see just a little bit there right along the line. Southern Grayson County, we have been picking up a little bit of hail, but not much more than that. So it seems like the heaviest part of that storm, the strongest part of that storm, will bring that heavy rain and the wind across those areas. Zooming back out, let's take a look at our reflectivity once again. You can see all the warnings that are flashing across the area. Southern Indiana, looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's been stretched out towards folks there in Salem, heading through Washington County working towards Scott County as well. So let's put our reflectivity back on. We'll take a closer look at those as well as we head into the next 15 to 30 minutes. As far as that tornado warning is concerned, ongoing until 10:30. That is the only tornado warning that we have across the viewing area. But right now we're seeing a blanket of some severe thunderstorm warnings that continue to push north and eastward. So folks that were just picking up on some of the heavier rainfall earlier, now getting in on some of the stronger storms. And again, here's a storm that we just had a severe thunderstorm warning issued. This looks like it includes portions of Washington County, portions of Scott County as well. And this severe thunderstorm warning will be ongoing until 11 o'clock. So for the next 34 minutes, that's going to be working into these areas. And again, it's going to be the high wind gusts, the heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning as more than likely your primary concern. Looks like the tornado warning ongoing just south of that. But again, when we were diagnosing it earlier, it just didn't have that couplet. The velocity field, the wind field, it just wasn't looking like it was showing that rotation like you typically see when we look at the wind velocity field. And we'll pull that up and show you just that as the cell continues to work into northern parts of Harrison County now. So we toggle on our base velocity there and we switch it over and we can see some of the wind velocity as far as the storm is concerned. And again, let's zoom in a little bit closer, see what we can get and take a closer look at this. Folks there in Harrison County, just north of Cordon, we're seeing some winds, a little bit of rotation, but not much there. Getting a signature that's just west of Cordon, south of 64, but again, that's about it. Notice some of the higher wind gusts that are showing up with the storms behind us as well, just west of Leopold. Those brighter greens that continue to show up across those areas. Those storms, something we got to keep a close eye on, some potential damaging winds as, you know, these storms track north and eastward, Jay.
Yeah, Chris, you know, looking at all the chat rooms and we're chiming in with some of our storm spotters and what have you, no reports of tornadoes on the ground, no reports of funnel clouds, anything like that. That's some good news, and it looks like the velocity couplet on the radar has weakened somewhat as this storm continues to work off to the east-northeast. For the most part, west of I-65, that's where the big thunderstorms are now located. That's where the storms are capable of producing winds of 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour in scattered locations. Certainly a lot of heavy rainfall with the heavier cores as everything moves off to the east-northeast. And you can see flashing in yellow there on your TV set with Chris there in the screen. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. Just one tornado warning, and this goes until the bottom of the hour. This will expire at 10:30 over the next few seconds or so. This is for eastern sections of Crawford County as well as Harrison County. There is a big thunderstorm right now in the Litchfield area. It's moving off to the east-northeast. This will carry it into Hardin County here in relatively short order. Now this storm, I was looking at this on the radar scope there, Chris. This thing is rotating just a little bit, so we have to watch this storm. You can see that bright area of green south of Litchfield, and right next to it a darker area of green. That implies that we do have a little bit of rotation going on throughout the depth of the storm. So we're going to have to watch for that as it moves off to the east-northeast. Of course, as this storm system moves across the Ohio Valley, we have a lot of wind energy located with this thing. Not only that, we have some instability, we have a lot of moisture, and that's what's giving rise to these strong and severe storms as they roll through the area on this Saturday evening. You can see the severe thunderstorm warning continues for sections of Caneyville, Litchfield, Annetta, close to Wax. It could be extended farther off to the east, but what Chris is showing you right there, that purple shade, if you will, that's the hail core right around Shrewsbury right now in Sadler. That too is moving off to the east-northeast, so we could be looking at some substantial hail from this system, mainly across south and southeastern portions of Grayson County here over the next few minutes. Chris?
Yeah, so the storm, just a little bit ago, I put that hail tracker on there, and we weren't seeing much as far as hail is concerned, so it looks like seeing a bit of an uptick as far as that storm intensity is concerned, and therefore that hail beginning to show up, and we'll likely see an extension on that severe thunderstorm warning here in just a little bit. And in fact, let's go ahead and pull up our velocity here, our reflectivity, and take a look at this storm. pretty strong storm that's working through Grayson County. Folks there in Litchfield picking up on some heavier rainfall as well. So what we'll do is we're going to keep a close eye on everything. Additional severe thunderstorm warnings will continue across the area, and we're going to keep a close eye on that as we head throughout tonight and into the overnight hours. But it is certainly on the stronger side as far as some of these severe storms are concerned, and we're going to keep that close eye on that. Jay, are you seeing something?
Yes, the tornado warning that was in effect for Crawford and Harrison County has been expired.
Okay, so good news there.
Yeah, everything is continuing to weaken as far as the wind field goes as things push off to the east-northeast. No tornado warnings in effect. Severe thunderstorm warnings basically from I-65 and points off to the west.
So we'll keep a close eye on all of these. These severe thunderstorm warnings almost blanketed across the area, tracking into the metro. Of course, if we get any updated warnings, tornado warnings, we'll be sure to cut back in. Otherwise, you can check our website, WLKY.com, and our social media pages for additional updates. We'll get you back to regular scheduled programming.